Today I'm sharing my hands-on impressions of the Donkey Kong Bananza demo. I got to play it 4 times for a total of an hour, and there is a lot to unpack. Let's break down what I played, what stood out, and whether it's living up to the hype. I played this at my local Walmart, but I've seen the demos at Target and Best Buy too. Any place with a Switch 2 kiosk should have this loaded up now, so you could go see for yourself. If you want just the raw gameplay, and I'm not very good, I even die once, check out my unedited video here and in the description below. So the demo starts in the opening mine segment, which you might have seen in the treehouse footage too. In one of the many similarities to Mario Odyssey, it's not the most visually appealing starting level. It's pretty claustrophobic and literally muddy. Of note, the demo does not include the larger Ingot Isle play area we saw in the treehouse footage, so there's a little more to this opening area that we'll see in the full game. But what's nice is you can move through quickly and then get transported to the watery Lagoon Layer. You instantly have Pauline by your side, not Oddrock, and you're given the Kong Bananza Transformation. Then after your first Lagoon Banandium gem, you also get 6 skill points to spend, but more on that later. I'm sure this is speeding up both story and gameplay elements from the full game, but it is nice because it gives a good impression of what the regular gameplay will be after those tutorial areas. My biggest concern going in were the controls. I'm one of the rare few who have trouble getting into Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, largely because the movement feels really sluggish. In that game, DK feels heavy and slow to respond, and I was kind of worried that Bonanza would emphasize that weight and inertia too much. But let me tell you, not a problem. The response is super snappy. There's weight to your punches, but not really to your movement. The game makes good use of rumble to provide a sense of impact without slowing down the responsiveness of the motion itself. If you hit roll, you roll instantly, no build-up. My other concern going in was the depth of the movement system. Mario Odyssey felt best when you changed together impossible-seeming combos with Cappy to reach places you thought you couldn't. You felt fast and clever. Fortunately, Bonanza gives the same feeling without really seeming like a copy. Rolling is the new cap throw, giving you lateral movement and keeping you up in the air. You can roll off a ledge, then jump, then roll again. You can spin jump with a chunk in your hands, then chunk jump into a roll. It feels like a game that will reward experience with the controls. In fact, Bonanza has far more skill options than Odyssey, but they're not all available right away. That's where the skill point system comes in. Like I mentioned, you get 6 skill points to play with in the demo. I immediately went for movement-focused upgrades, better turf surf, and the spin jump. On other playthroughs, I tried out better Bonanza upgrades like longer transformations and stronger Kong punches. The skill tree gives you recommendations of what to select, and a few basic upgrades like health and punch strength were already filled in for the demo. We don't really know how long it will take to unlock all these options in the full game, but when you have them, the motion combos expand considerably. You can spin jump with a chunk in your hands, letting you chunk jump at the top of the jump for even more height. It's a little tricky to pull off, but I'm sure we'll get used to these combos in no time. The skill tree is interesting. There are 4 locked columns beyond the Kong Bananza one. 2 are for the zebra and ostrich transformations, leaving 2 more columns completely open. More transformations? Other skills for Pauline? We'll have to see. Combat also feels a little more interesting than Odyssey, although admittedly I didn't get a ton of experience with this in the demo. But you're not just jumping on enemies, you're punching, rolling, and picking up chunks to swing around or throw. Spiky enemies make you go beyond just punching. Grabbing and throwing objects becomes essential. Some enemies are encased in concrete, forcing you to grab explosives first. The swarming enemies actually gave me the most trouble, as they quickly grab onto you. I think swinging a slab of rock would clear them out quickly, but I actually got kind of overwhelmed. In these intro areas, it wasn't terribly hard, but it feels like there's a high ceiling for combat challenges. I think a big question going in for a lot of people, myself included, was how do you make platforming interesting when Donkey Kong can just climb everything? Because in most platformers, that verticality provides a lot of the challenge. But naturally, they did think of that. Some surfaces are wet or slick, so you can't climb them. And that's where the movement skills come in. There was moments where I used a tricky combo, like a spin jump into a chunk jump and a roll, to reach a spot I wasn't supposed to reach yet. These are the moments that make you feel clever. But there's a simpler way to the top for players who can't quite master the complex combos, providing something for every kind of player. I expect to see a real inversion of the typical platforming structure, and I'm excited to see how the game designers present other kinds of challenges that aren't about getting to the top. It was fun playing around with the Kong Bananza too. You activate it by pressing L plus R for a short time, and gain access to extra strong punches. It's maybe not the most exciting of the transformations, being mostly just a stronger gorilla form, but it does let you bash through even the strongest structures quickly and easily. And the Bonanza punches seem to work as radar, helping you find hidden treasures without having to slow down. You can refill your banana energy during a transformation, but that doesn't seem to extend your current timer. It just helps prep the next one. But it doesn't seem like you're going to be too limited on these transformations. There are even skills that make transforming faster or extend the timer. We know that you can combine transformations on the go, so these skills will help make interesting combos of the transformations possible. The controls are mostly locked. The one option that you have is that you can swap jump and downward punch. I switched it so that B, the bottom button, jumps, just like it is for Odyssey. They were trying to have the down button punch downward, but jumping is just too important of a skill and my muscle memory was already there. So there are 3 punch directions, forward, down, and up, a dive punch from the air, and rolling. Then there are all the moves when you're holding a chunk, surfing, double jumping, throwing, and aiming. The brand new movement skill you can unlock in the skill tree is the spin jump, which you can do with a chunk in your hands, letting you double jump at the top, so that opens up a lot of additional possibilities. It's actually kind of a lot to get used to, and it feels like more to master than Odyssey, but ultimately with a very similar feeling. And since we don't have captures and just a handful of transformations, I think that complexity in the innate movement set of Donkey Kong is going to feel really good. Overall, I'm super impressed. The game is obviously pulling from Odyssey's DNA, but it's making its own identity with the combat, the movement variety, and DK-style humor. I'm hoping there's more to discover too. The open skill tree slots suggest that Nintendo is holding something back from their marketing and from this demo, and I'm excited to discover what it is. And I'm also looking forward to seeing how those platforming challenges are different from what we expect when Donkey Kong can just climb everything. That's it for my demo impressions. If you have questions about the demo, put them in the comments and I can answer your questions. You can also check out the full gameplay video in the description below. If you want to see more content about Donkey Kong Bananza and other Nintendo Switch 2 games, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.